I'm assuming you guys been staring at that city view for quite a while. But don't worry, I'm back. And this time, we're gonna be talking about VR shooters, specifically the ones I own, because I don't own every single one of them. Come on, it's gonna be fun. Let's go. VR shooters are something I generally play, and on top of that, I already own a couple. Within this video, we'll be focusing on single-player VR shooters, as I feel multiplayer VR shooters, or multiplayer VR games in general, deserve their own video. So, in this video, we'll be focusing on Arizona Sunshine, Zero Caliber VR, and Hot Dogs, Horseshoes, and Hand Grenades. Let's start it off with Arizona Sunshine.
Boom! On my way.
Arizona Sunshine was released in 2016 by Vertigo Games. Arizona Sunshine was exclusively built for VR, and it was one of the first available for the consumer market. And at the time, Arizona Sunshine was a fantastic experience. Being that it was built for VR, a lot of the game involved you interacting with the environment in order to find more ammo or more weapons. Arizona Sunshine, for what it is a fantastic first VR game. Fundamentally, it is very arcadey and extremely linear, but it didn't really need to be much more than a fun zombie shooter that had co-op and a survival mode. For what it is, Arizona Sunshine is great. At the time. For a 2016 VR shooter, it hasn't really aged that well. Still costing a full price of $39.99 and having 2 DLC packs, both which clock under 1 hour to complete both. For what it is, Arizona Sunshine is still a good VR shooter for those who have never played VR before, but with more options than ever. I feel that the only real reason to play Arizona Sunshine is to play a game which showed the first steps into creating a VR shooter, as Arizona Sunshine is still great and fun, but it is definitely not warrant its full price now. The game uses an arcadey reloading system. To reload, all you have to do is press a button and just move the gun towards your chest. The gun reloads itself. The weapon selection is alright, considering the game focuses primarily on one-handed weapons. So the only way to really use two-handed weapons are to play the updated two-handed weapon mode. You can't physically use the weapons in your environment to kill zombies other than tossing them to their heads. Oh my A lackluster survival mode, but hey, at least the game has cooperative campaign and survival. There's that. $39.99. $39.99. Let's skip a couple of years to go towards a more modern VR game, Zero Caliber VR. Let's do some juxtaposition. Zero Caliber VR was released in 2018. And unlike Arizona's gameplay style, which is more methodical, Zero Caliber VR focuses on one thing and one thing only: being over the top. And it absolutely does a fantastic job at it. In Zero Caliber VR, you play as some random super soldier who has gravity-defying gloves, and you're able to pull shit towards you, and you're fighting against terrorists who call themselves Taloki, who worship the Aztec god of rain. Actually, no, none of that even matters. You just literally just shoot bad guys. If anything, that's just one part of what makes the game absolutely bonkers. Focusing on what makes the game absolutely bonkers is particularly the weapons. Unlike the weapon handling in Arizona Sunshine, the weapon handling in Zero Caliber is more cartoony? Exaggerated. There you go. That's the better description. Each weapon in Zero Caliber has a different recoil kick to them. Some being more exaggerated, and some being basically a laser beam. And you're able to fit any attachment on it that changes the performance Not by much, but just enough for you to feel like that you kind of need it. At least that's what it was for me for plenty of weapons once you attach a grip to it. A red dot sight or ACOG and a laser sight to it. Because generally, the attachments all work together as long as it can fit on the gun, it'll work. Now, the game advertised itself having realistic weapons and you customize them, but I'm pretty sure this golden BAR having a foregrip and a silencer and a fucking sniper rifle scope, I don't know about you, but I think that's not how it works. Because Zero Caliber VR primarily focuses on replayability. Now, even though the game is about 2 years old, the game is not finished yet. Yeah, the game actually only has about a 3-hour campaign, but don't worry, you can still replay those missions again and again. Hey, and on top of that, you can play it in co-op. That's pretty neat. There's no PvP yet, but hey, they're working on it. Look, see, here's footage. It's real. Alright, but there's always a catch. Specifically, the game's price is about $24.99. Generally, that's better, at least for the price that you're going to get in comparison to Arizona Sunshine. But the game is still unfinished, and there's some optimization issues. But hey, if you want a VR game that at least is competent and something that is worth your money, I say Zero Caliber VR is more worth it, even if it is the most bare bones as you can expect for a B-grade VR shooter on the market. It's competent, but expect a ton of jank. And I mean ton of it. Physics in the game is inconsistent at most, and you'll definitely see bodies flying around and doing whatever the hell. Some optimization issues. I was forced to play on the game on low, despite the fact I had a 2080 Ti, 16 gigabytes of RAM, and 2700X, and I assumed the game should have been able to run at least on medium, but it didn't. So I had to play on low, and the game looked like absolute garbage, specifically on the rain mission. But at least I was able to get around 144 to 120 FPS. I was playing on the Valve Index at 144 Hz settings. Overall, I recommend Zero Caliber VR over Arizona Sunshine. Unlike that game where it focuses on a very slow pace of combat and searching, this is bombastic and more or less the budget Call of Duty in VR. But personally speaking, my favorite VR shooter out of the three is hot dogs, horseshoes, and hand grenades. And let me tell you why. Ah, yeah, this is more what I'm talking about. H3VR, or Hot Dogs, Horseshoes, and Hand Grenades, was released in April 5th of 2016. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wait, didn't you say Arizona Sunshine was the first to come on the market? Technically, when it comes to a single-player focused campaign VR shooter, Hot Dogs, Horseshoes, Hand Grenades is more of a sandbox, less of a game, really. H3VR has over 250 weapons coming from historical, modern, and futuristic varieties. On top of that, the game has over 24 modes. It's actually more like 21 because 3 of them are prototypes that nobody really plays anymore because there's a better version of it, right smack dab in the middle, Take and Hold. Now, I don't want the rest of this section of the video to focus on Take and Hold. However, Take and Hold is the main game mode for H3VR. Those 250 some weapons that you get in the game can all be straight up used in this mode. And I mean any weapon. This goes for the same for the attachments in H3VR as well. Now, unlike Zero Caliber, there are weapon-specific attachments. But just like Zero Caliber VR, there's some universal attachments, which can allow you to have some monstrosities, like right here. Oh dear. Ain't that thing cute? Take and Hold is a mode that focuses on you, the player, trying to take and hold objectives. Now, you have a variety of styles to play. I personally play Ricky Dicky Random because I like playing slots with my survival chances. Now, of course, you have other styles to play as well, either the standard, the desperado, and specific weapon era themes. You can play it in a variety of difficulties, either by standard, or if you really hate yourself, one shot, one kill mode. Now, for more details for the Take and Hold game mode, I recommend watching the Snaker's review of it, which goes in more in depth, which focuses more on the Take and Hold game mode instead of here, where we're going to be moving on to the other gameplay modes. The other game modes are limited, some being Christmas one-offs, prototype ranges, an indoor range, a nod to a ever so famous gun YouTuber, survival horror experience, TF2 but with hot dogs, an actual sandbox mode for testing purposes, the earliest arcade prototype for H3VR, a breaching room, and a gymnasium. Also Boomski, but I never can get that damn mode to work. Oh, and I forgot a sampler pack. Yeah, it might be in the middle, but I've been playing this game for a long time, so this mode is only really useful if you haven't played H3VR and you really need your training wheels to get used to the sort of weird controls. Yeah, the controls in H3VR take a little bit getting used to, considering that unlike the other games I listed before, this game has realistic reloading. Now what I mean by that is, there's a lot to go through. Not everything, obviously, but there is a safety end that you need to turn on and off. You do have to physically stick a mag into the weapon, and because the game is physics-based, you have to be somewhat accurately sticking it to where it needs to go, or else it will just keep smacking the weapon and you're not going to have anything happen. So you might be asking, where's the negatives in this game? There really isn't any, to be honest. Because of it being a sandbox, most of the fun comes down to the player themselves, and there's a lot to do in this game. With a lot of weapons to play with, and plenty of game modes to keep you entertained, and only costing a whopping $19.99, there's really no reason not to own this game, unless you don't like single-player, sandbox, physics-based VR shooter. My only real negative with the game is that Take and Hold only has one map, which has been remedied by the community. Take and Hold now has a mod that is easy to install, and on top of that, there's plenty of different maps that change the engagement ranges for H3VR. Take and Hold now has a purpose for sniper rifles and weapons that aren't generally used or aren't very useful in close corners. So in the end, focusing on these three, you can tell there's a different gamut within the VR shooters you have displayed here. Arizona Sunshine is a fun VR shooter, but it's one of the more arcadey and most expensive, so I only recommend it once it's on sale. And this goes for the DLCs as well. Zero Caliber, as janky as it is and really goofy and not well optimized, the game is fun. A bit grindy if you want to unlock every weapon in the game, but it's still really fun if you're not expecting anything from it other than a really stupid budget Call of Duty. And to me, H3VR is a mandatory VR game that every VR owner should own, considering that out of all the three, it's the cheapest. And it's still being developed now with relatively consistent updates by Anton. So hopefully this showcase can help out some of you guys who wanted to know which VR game to get. This may not be every VR game, such as Half-Life Alyx, Contractors VR, Pavlov VR, Super Hot VR. Oh my god, there's a lot of these games, aren't there? Until then, I'll see you on the flip side.